Wednesday. Scratch that. It's Thursday. Because our internet was down last night and I told Aaron and I told Mary, so don't get all up in arms of me. Don't freak out. Because it's okay. The internet was down. I cannot control that. But it's actually a good thing because today is Brandon's birthday and I can celebrate it by making this special video all for him. So I love you sisters very dearly, but unfortunately, this is for Brandon. You can see the screen in my glasses. I had to wear my nerdy glasses because I'm being very nerdy, because this video is dun 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 50 marvelous Marvel comic facts. This may take a while, so we're going very fast. 1. Iron Man's armor used to include roller skates. What? In the Marvel Universe, a company called Marvel Comics exists and publishes licensed adventures of real-life superheroes like the Fantastic Four. Un momento. Before settling on Spider-Man, Stan Lee considered calling his new superhero Flyman or Insect Man somehow less awesome. Daredevil once had an animal sidekick, a seeing eye dog named Deuce the Devil Dog. Foggy lost the dog in a poker game. Why he was betting his dog, I have no idea. The disco-themed superhero Dazzler was co-created by a record company that wanted to launch her as a real-life act. One John Romita Jr. sketch shows that the character could have been black. Drink break. Steve Rogers, better known as Captain America, once worked as a comic book artist in his civilian identity. He drew Captain America. Among the people deemed worthy to wield Thor's hammer were Captain America, Black Widow, Storm, Conan the Barbarian, Superman, Wonder Woman, and even Loki. Usually under peculiar circumstances. Not surprising, as Loki is generally deemed evil and unworthy. Godzilla, the Transformers, Conan the Barbarian, and Fu Manchu have all been part of the Marvel Universe until their license agreements lapsed. Game of Thrones creator George R.R. Martin used to write fan mail to Marvel Comics. Nerd. Dr. Doom dropped out of college and is not an actual doctor. My life has been a lie. Wolverine's arm hair used to disappear when he was in costume, which is quite strange, actually. Apparently the authors, the writer, the drawers could not be bothered. Spider-Man has a villain made of bees called Swarm, who's a Nazi, though I'm not sure how being a Nazi is related to bees. In other news, in the Marvel Universe, Damage Control is a group responsible for rebuilding New York City between fight scenes so that everything looks normal again for the next fight. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby appeared in comics at the wedding of Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, but weren't let into the ceremony because they didn't have invitations. Captain America was briefly a werewolf. Capwolf was the name, apparently. Groot, I am Groot, was originally an alien invader, the monarch of Planet X, who was defeated by termites. Marvel's Man-Thing and DC's Swamp Thing debuted within weeks of each other back in 1971. Man-Thing co-creator Jerry Conway and Swamp Thing co-creator Lin Wei were roommates at the time. Coincidence? I think not. Dwayne McDuffie and Greg Wright's Deathlock series about a cyborg warrior who struggles against programming installed by a sinister corporation began as a pitch for a RoboCop comic, which quite frankly would have bombed. Writer Mark Grenwell's ashes were mixed into the first print run of his collected Squadron Supreme. This might be the weirdest fact you will ever come across. Marvel has multiple characters called Captain Marvel because they don't keep... Marvel has had multiple characters called Captain Marvel because if they don't keep publishing a book with that title, DC will claim the trademark for its character of the same name. Namor the Submariner was the first flying superhero back when Superman was still jumping tall buildings. Somehow less exciting than actually being able to fly. Extra credit, Loki. Loki used to have an unusual weakness. He could not use magic if he was wet. Moving on. Hulk was originally gray but turned green because it was an easier color to print. Lazy. Steve Ditko has written and drawn an entire Doctor Strange graphic novel that you can't read because he made it for himself. Captain America's shield is round because his original shield was thought too similar to the costume of a rival publisher's hero, the Shield. Shapeshifter Mystique is the mother of Nightcrawler, but writer Chris Claremont previously intended her to be his father. Shapeshifters, they're shifty folk. Marvel killed off Wonder Man out of deference to DC's Wonder Woman. Marvel also has a character called Power Man, so when DC created Power Girl, Marvel brought back Wonder Man. See, DC? This is how we roll. Doctor Strange lives at 177A Bleecker Street, Greenwich Village, New York, a real address where writers Ward Thomas and Gray Friedrich shared an apartment. Marvel teamed up with the NFL to create NFL Super Pro, an early 90s comic about an ex-NFL player turned superhero. It lasted 13 issues, probably because nerds don't want to read about sports. Thanos owns a helicopter with his name on the tail because he is a self-centered jerk. Drink break. Black Panther briefly changed his name to Black Leopard so Marvel could avoid the connection to the political party. Probably a smart move on their part. Spider-Man's black costume was designed and submitted by a fan, Randy Schuler. He was paid $222 for a drawing. Hulk was one of the original Avengers, but he quit after the first issue. He only rejoined the team 50 years later when the movie came out. ROM's Space Knight was based on a toy line with exactly one action figure. It ran for 75 issues, outlasting the toy by several years. Captain America co-creator Joe Simon claims in his autobiography that he got the inspiration for the Red Skull from the cherry on top of a hot fudge sundae. Methinks he thinks too much about food. Nicholas Coppola, nephew of director Francis Ford Coppola, chose the professional name Nicolas Cage as a tribute to Marvel's Luke Cage. Ooh, fun one for you. Absalom Doc is a Marvel Comics character who kills Daleks, created when Marvel held the Doctor Who license. Marvel doesn't have that license anymore, obviously, so there are no Daleks left for Absalom to kill. Which is sad, really, because wouldn't it be awesome to see a Dalek in a Marvel comic? Many of Marvel's Asgardians are based on Norse mythology, but the Warriors 3, Fandral, Hogun, and Volstagg are based on Errol Flynn, Charles Bronson, and Shakespeare's Falstaff. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were originally intended as a parody of two other popular Marvel books, The Teenage Mutants of the X-Men and The Ninjas of Daredevil. The Foot Clan is a parody of Daredevil's ninjas, The Hand. Drink break. This is a milkshake, by the way, from Burger King. It's Oreo. DC and Marvel share the trademark to the phrase superhero. Marvel editors came up with the English names for many of the Transformers, including Optimus Prime and Megatron. There's a hyphen in Spider-Man to stop people confusing him with Superman. That didn't stop the Dr. Octopus from calling him Superman in an early issue. Marvel's X-Men and DC's Doom Patrol, both teams of outcasts with strange powers led by a wheelchair-bound mastermind, debuted within 3 weeks of each other. The Doom Patrol were first. X-Men might all be a lie. But we like them better. G.I. Joe was based on a failed pitch for a S.H.I.E.L.D. comic book. In the mid-80s, Warner's considered leasing the publishing rights for DC's characters to Marvel. Marvel passed on the offer. Stupid! The Wu-Tang Clan's Ghostface Killah and Method Man have gone by the names of Tony Starks and Johnny Blaze, inspired by Iron Man and Ghost Rider. Marvel produced a short-lived series called The Human Fly based on a real-life stuntman who kept his true identity a secret. He was billed as the wildest superhero of all because he's real. Yeah, no wonder it didn't last. Dolls face a higher import tariff. Dolls face a higher import tariff than other toys, so Marvel once successfully argued that its characters were non-human so that the toys could be taxed at a lower rate. Because Marvel is full of sneaky jerks. Marvel doesn't have a lot of sidekick characters. Maybe that's because Rick Jones claims all the sidekick gigs. He's been sidekick to Hulk, Captain America, 2 Captains Marvel, and ROM's Space Knight. Shatterstar is his own grandfather. Longshot is also his own grandfather. They were each other's father and son. Yeah, it's weird. Iron Man's armor used to include roller skates. You're probably thinking this is familiar. It's because we're back at the beginning. That went by so quickly. Not really, but I hope this wasn't super boring, and I hope you enjoyed this a lot, Brandon, because it was all for your birthday.